It's time to talk about the next Madden 23 update. Now, as many of you know, a couple weeks ago, we got the biggest update of Madden 23. We had some stuff added to the game. We had a lot of stuff that was fixed. We had some other things that were supposedly supposed to be fixed, but they're still broken. So now we turn our attention to the next update, which could be coming out anytime over the next week or two for the big November update. And EA has already come out and said some of the biggest things that they're working on towards this update. And we've kind of got an idea of some other things that will be coming as well. And as always, if you don't want to miss all of the official info when that update drops, as well as the news surrounding the upcoming NCAA football game or the 2K game that's supposed to be coming out hopefully next year, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss any of those videos when they go live. So EA took to their forums a couple days ago and they said this: "Hey Madden fans, on Thursday, October 13th, our largest title update yet went live in Madden NFL 23 to improve your experience across multiple modes. We have been reading your feedback and understand that there are still a few more lingering issues. We wanted to share specifically what our franchise team is prioritizing for our next update, including live service fixes along the way." Now let me just interject here for a second, because when they say there's still a few more lingering issues, there's a lot more than just a few lingering issues. There's a ton of lingering issues, and some of the stuff that was supposed to be fixed last update somehow still aren't fixed, so you got your work cut out for you, and it's almost November. Now they also added a dev note here that says the Madden NFL team developed a strategic update cadence to ensure larger, more impactful updates during the season. The team has multiple levers to roll out fixes, from server side to faster, lightweight updates. Follow Madden NFL Direct to get the latest updates, as fixes can roll out without larger gridiron notes via title updates. The team has a high urgency level and will use every tool for an update ASAP. Now what they mean here is a few different things, and we've actually seen this year. Number one, we have not seen as many actual gridiron notes title updates, which means bigger updates. Normally we would see a couple of those every month for the first few months of a new Madden season, but we've really only been seeing one of those a month. However, we have been seeing a smaller update that would be pushed through. We've seen those a few times already where they're kind of more of emergency hot fixes, where there could be just a big issue with the game that they're trying to tackle very quickly, and they can kind of push that out quicker than a big overall game update. So we have seen them do that. And then when they talk about server side updates, usually that's stuff to deal with Ultimate Team, because a lot of stuff with Ultimate Team and the issues that it has are usually server side things where they don't actually have to go adjust the game coding in any way to fix it. Anytime you adjust the game coding, you have to get it certified through Sony and Microsoft, and that's what delays a lot of the bigger updates. But when it's server side, you don't actually have to mess with the game code, which means if you can get the fix, you can push it out immediately. Now they also added the top 3 priorities for the franchise team that they're currently focused on fixing. It says draft stability issues in franchise mode. The draft stability, aka draft revert issue affecting some users, is being diagnosed and addressed as soon as possible. Also, the 32 user unable to join league. This is also being diagnosed and addressed as soon as possible. Now they also added a bullet point here that said a smaller percentage of disconnects around contract negotiations and face of the franchise. It says that this has been resolved, so I don't know if that's from the last update or if they pushed something out since then to clear up this issue that was maybe still lingering for a few people after the update, but that one's been resolved. But these top 2 are 2 of the biggest ones that have been a problem since day one, and they were supposedly supposed to be fixed in the last update. They're still not. They are the 2 highest priorities for the team, as they've mentioned here. So in this next update, those things should finally be fixed. But I mean, if you're a franchise player and you're waiting 3 months into the year for these things to be fixed, I mean, a lot of people might have just given up on the game at that point. Like, they shouldn't have to wait 3 months to be able to do fantasy drafts or to have 32 user leagues. It's just kind of ridiculous. Now we're going to continue with the rest of what you can expect in the next big update, but really quickly, let's hear a word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Raycon and the Everyday Earbuds. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. As you can see, I've got my black pair in right now, and my favorite thing about them, just right off the jump, is no matter how much I shake, they just don't fall out. And that's a problem I've had with every other earbud on the market. Another thing I love about Raycon is the fact that they deliver quality audio at just half the price of other premium audio brands. It's no wonder they have over 50,000 5-star reviews. I also love the earbud design. They've been specifically modified through countless design iterations to seamlessly fit the curvature of the human ear, big or small. So they never hurt after long listening sessions, and they never fall out. This is why I love to use them when I'm jogging, working out, playing basketball, you name it. I also love their durability. They're sweat and water resistant. So if you happen to accidentally leave them out in the rain or drop them in a puddle, you have nothing to worry about. They also offer great battery life. You get 8 hours of playtime and 32-hour battery life on the charging case. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/rayweather to get 15% off of your Raycon purchase. With your everyday earbud purchase, you get a pair of the everyday wireless earbuds, plus 5 of the silicone gel tips to help fit any ear, plus the charging case for on-the-go charging, and 1 charging cable cord. Again, click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/rayweather to get 15% off of your Raycon purchase. Now, with the next big title update for Madden 23, we're also going to be seeing more gameplay issues fixed. That's always one of the biggest things with every update, as I talk about in all of these videos. Gameplay is the main thing with the game, and they're always going to be tweaking, adjusting, and fixing things. In this last update, some of the gameplay stuff they did was pretty good, especially around blocking. They did make blocking a little bit better. It's still pretty bad, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying they've kind of continued to make that better. They've also addressed some other things, but there's still a lot of big balancing issues with the game that people are still complaining about, like the overpowered aggressive catches. And yes, I know some people hate when you say this because they want to just aggressive catch everything, and I get it, but if you're on the new consoles and you know how to do this a certain way, you can pretty much guarantee aggressive catches one-on-one almost every single time, which is just a little bit too much. And even in double coverage, as I've talked about, when you knock the ball loose, it's impossible for the defense to intercept it because they do not catch tipped interceptions hardly ever anymore. So the problem is not that aggressive catches can be won at a high rate one-on-one. I don't think most people have a problem with that at this point. It's that one-on-one, they're almost a guarantee, and then even one-on-two, there's no risk of an interception, so people just throw them every single play and they can eventually get down the field because there's really no risk to turning the ball over, and that's the problem. So I would expect something to be done with that to try to balance that. Man defense being really good, which makes man blitzing very good, is another reason that aggressive catches are kind of a necessary evil right now, and you would think at this point they're looking to probably tweak man defense. They still haven't done it yet, so maybe they won't, but these are the two things that have consistently been the most unbalanced about the game. So if you can balance both of those, I think you can clean the game up and make it have a little more variety and make it a little bit better. There's also a ton of glitches going around, as I highlighted in a video a few days ago. I will link that below in the pinned comment if you didn't see it. All of the biggest glitches going on with Madden right now. Some of them are actually pretty funny, so I would definitely check it out. But we've got the QB glitch where if you do something a certain way, you can run with the QB and the defense literally just ignores him. They don't know he's on the field. He's literally like invisible, especially if you're in zone defense. You can stand right in front of a defender in the middle of the field with a quarterback and he'll just look at you. You can just walk past them. The only people that recognize the QB are like the pass rushers, so the guys on the D-line, or if someone's blitzing. But let's say you're just playing a zone defense, you know, you're trying to protect maybe the end of half, you're trying to protect from a big play, so you just drop everybody back in like prevent, for example. You can glitch them out to where none of them will notice the QB's on the field, and you could just run past all of them for a touchdown. Obviously, there's a couple of RPO glitches still in the game. They're not the hardest to work around, but they should be fixed, and I think those are going to be fixed with the next update as well. And there's a bunch of other glitches really with the game that they could be looking to attack. They're always trying to clean up the glitches. I think this year, gameplay-wise, we've probably seen the least amount of glitches, which is good, but there's still a few big ones in the game that need to be addressed. This should also be the update where we see the X Factor and Superstar player switch up. Now, the past couple of years, they have not been doing these updates multiple times a year, but they've at least done them one big time during the year, and that's usually in the middle of the football season, which would be this next update. That's about when they did it last year. It was sometime in November or maybe early December, so we're getting very close to that. They're going to be switching up these X Factor and Superstar players. There's definitely a lot of X Factor and Superstar players currently in Madden that are going to be demoted because some of them have just been injured all year. Some of them are older and just not playing as well, and some are just flat out not playing that well to begin with, whereas there's a lot of younger guys really starting to kind of heat up. So I think when you look at X Factors, you're probably going to see Jamar Chase for sure finally jump over to the X Factor because he's picking up right where he left off last year, and Michael Parsons has already jumped up to the X Factor. It's time for Jamar Chase, the second-year guy, to jump up as well. I think Saquon Barkley can jump back up to an X Factor. He used to be an X Factor player, but he's had some injuries, he's had some down years, and he's right back this year looking as good as ever, so I think he's going to be jumping back up. I think Austin Eckler potentially could be jumping from Superstar to X Factor. He's been having some solid years. He's having another solid year so far right now when you factor in receiving and rushing, so I think he could possibly be jumping up as well. Mark Andrews, another guy that probably should have been an X Factor to start the year, in my opinion. Probably should have been an X Factor last year. He's picking up right where he's left off these last few years. It's pretty much about time to bump him up into that official X Factor range. And the other guy I got is Darius Slay. He's been a superstar kind of on and off for the last few years. I think he's having one of his best years right now. He's been amazing, so I think he's definitely a candidate to also jump up to X Factor. As far as superstar players, there's definitely a lot more guys that can jump into the superstar range because there's not a limit on these guys. And keep in mind, players that don't already have superstar usually aren't going to jump from nothing up to X Factor. EA has rarely done that, if ever. So even though some of these players you could argue maybe should be be X Factor players. Since they currently have nothing and have never been an X Factor player previously, they're probably not going to jump all the way up. So guys like Jalen Hurts, for example, he'll probably jump up to superstar. Josh Jacobs, I think he's having a really good year. He could jump up to superstar. Jalen Waddle, definitely a guy who should be jumping up into the superstar. He's honestly getting close to an X Factor in my opinion, but since he's never even been a superstar, he's probably going to have to take that step first. You know, guys like AJ Brown definitely should be jumping up there. There's a few rookies that maybe have a chance. They're usually not as kind with the rookies, but I think guys like Chris Olave, Damian Pierce, Breece Hall, maybe even Kenneth Walker, the way he's been playing, all those guys have potential to jump up into superstar, but it's not as likely that they're going to do it to that many rookies. On the defensive side of the ball, you definitely got guys like Max Crosby, Quentin Williams, Patrick Surtain, Javon Holland. All of those guys are just off the top of my head people that should definitely, without a doubt, be superstars. They really, some of them should already be superstars, but I think they'll definitely jump up into that tier with this next update. As always, make sure to subscribe so you do not miss this news when it drops, and check out this video right here on the screen with the biggest glitches of Madden 23. These are absolutely crazy and need to be fixed right now.